it's Nikki and welcome to Book Talk Friday. So first of all, before we even start anything, I've got a few announcements. Firstly, as you can see, my hair has changed and it makes me feel beautiful and like a mermaid. So we're gonna roll with that. Look how cool it is. Look at all the different shades of green. So yeah, that's announcement number one. Not like it's a proper announcement, but I thought I'd mention it so people aren't like, who is that? I don't recognise her. The second thing is that I'm really excited to introduce this new part to my channel. So in the past I've just kind of been doing like random vlogs and stuff, but I've decided that from now on I want to make serious booktube talks. And so one of these things is going to be Book Talk Friday, and so every Friday I hope I'm really going to try. I'm going to be discussing a new book. Today's going to be a book review, so that's another exciting announcement. Today is my first ever book review that I've done on this channel, and I'm really excited about that. I don't think I have another announcement apart from the fact that after Christmas I'm going to be investing, well, during Christmas I will be investing in a camera. So that I can make proper videos. I'm using my webcam, which is fine, but I'd really love a camera. I've never had like a proper professional camera before, so I'm really excited about that. And as you know, I think I'm also a theatre student, so I enjoy acting and performing for the screen, so I think it would be really cool to have a camera, just like, seems like a good thing to do. Okay, so today we're going to be discussing The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime by Mark Haddon. I had never read this book before, which is kind of bad. It came out years and years ago, but I remember it was very popular when I was like in high school, and I just never got around to reading it, which is really bad, because it's just such a big book. And so, as you know, if you watched my last video, I had gone a little bit of a book spending spree, and so this happened. Oh, by the way, I'm going to do like a non-spoilery section of the book, and then I'm going to go into spoilers, but I will give you a little bit of a break in between. So if you don't hear the spoilers, you can just click that X up there or wherever. I feel like it'll be up there, but whatever. And so you won't get those spoilers, which will be obviously what you want. So I was actually in the mood for something contemporary romantic. This isn't romantic at all, but it doesn't matter because I read contemporary and it got me out of my reading slump, and I needed that. I needed something easy and quite fast paced to read. First things first, this is very easy to read. It's written from the point of view of a 15-year-old boy called Christopher. He has Asperger's syndrome, which I don't think is actually explicitly said within the book. It is in the blurb, but not in the book, which doesn't matter because you pick up on it very quickly. At least you definitely pick up that he does have like a learning difficulty, because even though other people seem to see it as like a behavioural issue, you can tell from the way he narrates the book that his mind works differently to a lot of other people's. He's really into maths, and one really cool thing about this book is the amount of maths I learned. I'm not gonna lie, like damn. And he just has like different ways of seeing the world, and he has to like map everything out. He likes everything to be out, and there's such amazing, beautiful quotes within this book, just about how he sees the world. And my favourite was the negligible. Am I pronouncing that right? How he says everything's negligible because we as human beings are so small. And I was like, yes, it's just so true, and it's amazing. So the way it's written, I thought was quite unique. It's like there's some letters in there, there's lots of diagrams, there's like maths equations and scales and charts, and I loved it. I thought it might have gone a little bit too much towards the end when I was like, I really don't care about the map of the tube, but Christopher cared. So I guess we kind of did care in the end. Like, just gave like a huge I love the fact that it was just so grounded in reality that you could definitely see this happening. And as far as messages, it just made me think a lot about how different people are. Because one thing Christopher does when he doesn't understand what's going on, or he gets confused or very frightened, he starts groaning. And this is like, I just thought it was so interesting because he doesn't care like what other people are thinking about it. He just knows, I need to do this to calm down, so I'm going to do it now. But obviously people around are kind of like freaked out or scared, or they're like, oh my gosh, he's a madman, because he carries around a knife as well. It sounds dodgy, but when you read it, you root for him. And it just made me think about if I saw someone doing that, like, well, how would I react? And I might not necessarily know what's going on in their mind. Like, I might not understand that. Maybe they are growing because I'm standing way too close to them and they need that space. So it just made me think so much about how to treat other people and how we need to learn, because example, there's a part where the policeman like grabs his arm, and he, as a person, cannot stand being touched, and he freaks out and screams and stuff. Like, he doesn't know what's going to happen to him when he hits the policeman, and it's not his fault, but the policeman gets really angry and thinks this is like assault, and it's like he doesn't mean to. Do you know? So it really made me think about that. Non-spoilery, he finds that this dog who lived on the road has been killed with a pitchfork. This does not count as a spoiler because you can tell from the front cover, okay? And basically the story is about him setting out to find out who did it, and then it turns into a whole load of other things, actually. There are some good twists and turns within the book. I was physically gasping out loud at some of the stuff. I was like, no way, he didn't, and stuff like that. So that was really cool. I would probably give it like maybe a 4 or maybe like a 3.8 out of 5, and that's not because like it shouldn't be a 5 out of 5. I think that's just because me personally, I don't tend to read this style of book, so maybe I'm like not used to it. I mean, I really enjoyed it, but maybe it's just not my kind of style. But I loved it, and I would definitely read more by Mark Adam, I think, because I think I wasn't expecting something like this. If I'd been expecting it, I'd have been more, cool. But yeah, it was really good and I enjoyed it. So that's it for the non-spoilery section. And now we're gonna get into some spoilers. So y'all got some minutes to be clicking out this video. Y'all got some minutes to be finding that ex, okay? Like digging through those last texts, stalking their Facebook. Oh my gosh, my phone is ringing. Can I edit up the video? Oh, I have to answer this. Okay, give me a minute. Hello? Hi. Hi, Michelle. Pardon? Oh yeah, I'm good. Thank you. Thanks. Yeah, I'm good. How are you? Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm fine. That's all good. Now we know the service. Yes, I saw. Yeah. Okay, I spoke to her about it, and I was like, yeah. Brilliant. Thank you. Sorry, I had to edit. I had to answer that. It was like important. Okay. So where was I? Spoilery section. So you had all that time to click out. So don't not be coming to me and trying to say that I gave you spoilers because I didn't. Right. So spoiler time. I'm gonna go straight into it. Okay. So basically, Christopher's dad is the one that killed Wellington, and I was like, oh my gosh, but that was not as big a plot twist as the fact that Christopher's mum was never dead. Oh my gosh, did not see that coming. I just opened the book and there's that one tiny little hint in the book that she's not dead, but that completely skipped past me. And then when I found out she wasn't dead, I was like, oh my gosh, what? And my housemate who's downstairs, and she'd read it already, and I was like, she's not dead. And she was like, yeah, I know. And I was like, oh my gosh, that was insane. That was amazing. I love that plot twist. And at that point I was like, I need to finish this damn book. Yeah, and then so he goes and finds his mum, and that was sweet. I think the mum's a bad mum as well. I think the dad was the best parent, even though he ends up not freaking talking to his dad at the end. But I did love the fact that, because as I got near the end, I was like, oh my gosh, this is the last page, how's it going to wrap up and stuff. But I kind of like the fact that he didn't immediately forgive his dad, because I think that would have been unrealistic. And oh my gosh, the puppy at the end, he got him a puppy. I'm sorry, also it was a golden retriever, which is my favourite type of puppy, so maybe I'm prejudiced, but I thought that was absolutely adorable. Yeah, and then the last paragraph, I finished this book half an hour ago. The last paragraph, I just got really emotional by, and I'm not sure what about it made me emotional, but it was just this part. And then I will get a first-class honours degree, and I will become a scientist. And I know I can do this because I went to London on my own, and because I solved the mystery of who killed Wellington, and I found my mother, and I was brave, and I wrote a book, and that means I can do anything. And that I was tearing up. I was like, you can't do anything, Christopher. You're so brave and you solved it. It's just so cute. What angered me in this book was how people treated Christopher, and just because he's different, and this made me angry, but then it made me question myself, and I was like, do I treat people differently if they don't think the same as me? Do we all do it? Yeah, we do to an extent, as much as we try to think we're all like forward thinking and liberal and accepting, like we're just like all selfish bastards. Yeah, I thought there were a few interesting like digs at like religion in this book. Maybe not religion, or just let's say not religion, but belief in a higher being, which I thought was interesting. Like the first couple of times, like I was like, I don't get it, because this is how he views the world. Like he's so like, I see this is how this works, and maths and science just they are the answers to everything, because that's what helps him like cope with everything. And then I think the final one, to be honest, I was very tired when I was reading the second half of this book, and I was just like, I'm just not in the mood. And I was just like, dude, this was so unrelated to anything. But I thought it was really interesting. I like reading the different viewpoints and stuff made, and I don't think there were any instances in which it felt like a proper dig. Like they just all felt very justified, apart from the last one. They all felt very like, this is him, and I was just completely immersed in the character. I felt like, oh, I just feel like this writer like never deviated. At no point was I felt like I was reading about someone who was writing about someone with Asperger's. I just felt I was reading from this perspective. It was really interesting. I think really helpful, and it made me think about how much literature has the power to represent people, and we need to be doing it more. Like us as writers, or I mean, even if we're mostly readers, like then writers and artists in general need to be representing the world, because then how else are people gonna like come to an acceptance? Do you know what I mean? Yeah, it's all very well to say that we should be accepting, but sometimes people need help, and I think like books like this are brilliant for that. So I really appreciated it. I feel like maybe the style wasn't for me, but as I said, it got me out of the reading slump because it was just so simple to read, and I enjoyed that. I do enjoy this kind of style every now and again, so that was good. Yeah, I don't really know what else to say. Like, it was really good. But it was kind of like, I feel like a simple story. Like, it deviated from Who Killed Wellington, because we find out very early that his dad killed him, and it just becomes a story about him trying to find his mother, which he does find, and about him just kind of like, it's kind of like almost like a coming of age. Like, he matures so much in this book. Like, he has his first journey across London, and it sounds like a very minor like plot detail, and like, to be honest, at the end I was like, what is actually happening in this book? But not even in like a bad way, because I was like, I've been so absorbed in something. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, but you root for him, even though it's such like a minor thing in like our day-to-day lives, because you're like, oh my gosh, this is terrifying for him and my poor baby. And so yeah, I definitely recommend this. If you've read this book, let me know what you thought about it, comment below. And if you enjoyed this book review, please give me a thumbs up, and I'll know to do more. I have like a whole host of exciting books to be reviewing, and I want to review like a variety of books, or at least I'm going to try. I really like high action books, so I do reading stuff like this every now and again, but I want to do a mix of like contemporary reads and fantasy and thriller and like crime, maybe the occasional romance. I've never really been into romance, but I feel like as I'm growing older and branching out, so I think that would be really great. And just let me know if you have any books that you want me to review, or you want to hear like what I thought about them, because I will do my very best to buy them and read them, especially as it's near Christmas time, and I can just be like, hey, get me this book for Christmas, parents of mine. So yeah, thank you very much for listening, and I hope you'll have an amazing day, an amazing Friday. Thank you for listening to Book Talk Friday. Bye.